Welcome.
Are you ready to thrive?
Of course you are. Life is all about thriving forward and doing things your way. Hello and welcome to the Sussex Way Podcast. My name is Veena V and I help business owners build up themselves and get confident on camera and launch their very own YouTube channel. I'm a single mum and I love tea cake and long walks in the countryside. Hello and welcome to episode number 9. Oh my goodness me. You are in for a massive treat because we have got an incredible lady on today who is our most knowledgeable guest about Prince Harry and Meghan, because she is one of the co-hosts of a Duchess Like Us podcast. She's part of the Sussex squad as well, and she's here to talk about personal branding and what this really means for Meghan and Harry moving forward as well. Please welcome to the show, Gayle Edwards.
Yay! Thank you so much for inviting me on, Veena. I'm very excited to be speaking to you today, and also to give some perspective on what's really going on amongst all the hysteria and madness currently being played out in our media. So thank you.
This is a fun. Well, do you know what? I'm so privileged that you're here. You're an incredible lady, incredibly strong lady. And again, thank you for taking the time. I just think this is going to be so interesting because, like I said, a lot of people that have come on, me included, we don't have this massive knowledge about what really is going on for Meghan and Harry. And you've got a podcast where you've been talking about issues like this for quite a while, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Meghan came onto the royal scene, if you like, just over 3 years ago when she first started dating Harry. I have been a fan of Meghan's from before she started dating Harry. Have been a fan of Harry, obviously, since his birth as well. So to see the two of them come together, that was a very exciting time for me. So when I saw it started to sour fairly quickly within the media, immediately I wanted to know why, first and foremost, and understand that more. And then when I saw that it was actually based on nonsense, it was a case where, well, hold on, we cannot allow an industry to destroy someone's reputation and destroy a relationship and now ultimately a family over what exactly? And that's my thing. It's about giving some real perspective. I've had arguments in my own family circle with people who say, oh, but I don't like her, she's a bit weird, she's a bit, and I think, well, okay, well, that's fair enough, you don't like everybody, but why don't you like her? What are the examples? And nobody can actually give a reason. It's just being fed from this stuff that's in the media.
This is my first question for you then, because when and how has it changed? Because from what I remember, the last kind of bit of, I'm not an avid, I don't really know what's going on. I don't watch Sky News all the time. I don't pick up newspapers. So I'm not aware of the maybe the kind of scale of what is going on. From what I can remember, and I watched the wedding on TV, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. It's like a fairy tale. She's like a Disney princess. But then the media was so positive. Everyone was like, our Meghan, we all love her. This is great for the country. Then it was all about the Fab Four with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. So what, Gayle, shed some light. What's happened?
Okay, So first and foremost, just to give you a little bit of background, I have always been an avid royalist. My family are West Indian, and they grew up with the Queen and the Commonwealth and all that brings. And my dad was a staunch royalist too. So we loved the royal family. And obviously when Diana died and all of that happened, it was devastating. So we took Harry and William to our hearts, more so Harry because he was so young. That was such a tragic thing to see, that young boy walking behind his mum's coffin. So to see him finally find happiness after going through all his teenage angst and anxiety and all the stuff that, again, played out in the media, to see him find happiness, of course we were happy as a nation. We wanted him to be happy. We wanted him to have true love. However, and this is where it starts to get murky, the royal family, and I'm going to be very controversial here, I am. The royal family has many layers to it. And first and foremost, their priority is to protect the heir. Prince Charles, Prince William, Prince George. They are the heirs that are in line to succession, and no matter what happens, they must be protected at all costs. That's just how our monarchy works here in the UK. We saw it. We saw it even with Queen Elizabeth, with Princess Margaret. She was the spare, and she was treated as the spare. Same with Prince Andrew, and now with Harry. And let's not fool ourselves. William is no saint. It's just that, as in an attempt to protect him as the heir, Harry was the one that was thrown under the bus, and that's why we heard about his antics. We heard about, naked billiards in Las Vegas or whatever it was. We heard about the Nazi fancy dress. We heard about those things because he is the spare. And what happened with the combination of Harry and Meghan, and the royal family were not prepared for it. What happened was this coming together and this absolute explosion where people really took them to their hearts. They did that magnificent tour in New Zealand and Fiji, and it was spectacular. They overshadowed, and that's their crime, they overshadowed the rest of the royal family. They became way too popular for their own good in the eyes of the royal family. The royal family and the British press have a very odd, almost symbiotic relationship, and it's the press's job, if you like, to prop up the royal family. And I'm under no illusion that there are certain quarters within the family that felt it was okay to throw both Meghan and Harry under the bus for the sake of the preservation of other reputations, let's say. And I'm trying to be very diplomatic as I say that.
I can tell you want to use some other words, but I'm like, oh,
yes.
okay, she's trying.
Yeah, I am.
It's so interesting hearing your perspective, because I think a lot of people, they're just not aware of what is going on. But kind of going to with your personal branding hat on, were the royal family, when there was this whole big kind of, what do I call it? It was, when they were labeling them as the Fab Four, was that supposed to be like a really strong brand element for them, to actually, the four of them together, to be this like super power? Was supposed to happen?
That was what was supposed to happen. But as with all, and we see it when we work with teams and, in organizations, you'll have some people who are real grafters. They've got a strong work ethic, and they're all about, let's do this, they're all about the solution, the best solution for the team. And then you've got others who are kind of like, well, yeah, whippity-doo, they're a little bit more lackluster, but they will take the celebration, but they're very lackluster. And the Fab Four were no different. Now, let's be under no illusion. Now, I won't be as diplomatic in this one, because both William and Kate have been married. William and Kate had been married for 8 years before Meghan came on the scene, or when Meghan really blasted onto the scene last year. They'd been married for 8 years. Then they'd been dating for 10 years before that. So they had 18 years to make a real impact. Now, when I talk about personal branding, I talk about personal branding from the perspective of 4 pillars, one of which is impact, the other one is influence, and the other one is image. But the most fundamental one is identity. And when you look at the identity of Will and Kate in that previous 18 years, I mean, they were Prince William and Kate, Duchess of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. I can't say, and like I said, I am a royalist, or I was a royalist until this happened. I'm not anymore. I'm a supporter of the Sussexes now. But their impact was very limited. They had no real identity other than Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. I would challenge anybody to tell me what they actually stand for. Before Meghan and Harry came onto the scene, what do the Duke and Duchess stand for? What are their causes? What are the things they're really passionate about?
Friggin'
William is,
Gayle.
yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now.
But
even with this identity, I'm sat here, you can't see me, but I'm like rubbing my chin going, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about, and you're so, okay, so in terms of Meghan by herself anyway, regardless of Prince Harry, she's got such a strong identity. Prince Harry has got a strong identity. Now together, they've got what's that word I'm trying to find? Extreme.
They're explosive. They're explosive.
Explosive.
They are
identity.
explosive together.
Now, again, from your point of view, if you want to do the Gayle, as in, avid supporter of the Sussexes, or Gayle, personal brand, or whatever perspective you want to give now, is because Meghan is such a strong woman and she's got a strong identity, does that not fit well with a lot of people?
What you have to remember is that Harry and Meghan are a love story. First and foremost, they are a love story. If you remember from their engagement interview, he was very clear. I choose her and she chooses me. Whatever we do together, we do as a team. Now, that's a very strong identity just there. And because of that, they have empowered each other to be exactly who they are. They have given each other permission to be okay to be who they are. So back in the 80s and the 90s, we saw the failure of Charles and Diana's marriage because, quite frankly, Charles couldn't cope with Diana's popularity. She's not supposed to outshine him. He's the future king. We see the same with Kate. Kate isn't supposed to outshine William. She's supposed to walk behind him and shake hands and smile sweetly because he is the future king. We do not see that with Harry and Meghan, and neither Harry nor Meghan want that either. They've been very clear from day one that yes, she is a strong woman, but they're okay with that, and they are using that as part of their brand. Harry too has been a strong man. The only reason why people are up in arms now is because they weren't listening. They weren't listening to Harry, but Harry made it clear in 2007 that he wasn't happy being a royal. He made it clear, when he was 19 and he set up Centablé, the charity, with the King of Lesotho. He made it really clear then that he wanted to help people who were underprivileged and marginalized. Invictus Games, he leveraged his army career, what he's seen in the army, to be able to help those who have been injured and impaired. Harry has not just become this man since he's met Meghan. Meghan has made him more of who he is, just like he's allowed her to be more of who she is. That's a real fairy tale. That's a real meeting of minds.
And I think they always say in a relationship as well, it's like you are supposed to be bringing out the best of each other.
Exactly.
Working. So Harry probably, and that's why he's fallen in love with her. He probably thought, hold on,
absolutely.
Woman. And now going back to your point about identity as well, and this personal branding, that's her having such a strong identity has probably made him realize, do you know what, this is my identity as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you're going to be my walking and talking encyclopedia, Wikipedia. We're going to call you every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the thing. And unfortunately, as I said, I'm British, and I've always been proud to be British. I don't like what's going on at the moment, politically, in terms of, everyone has just seems to have lost their minds. But at the end of the day, as a British person, we've always been very proud of our monarchy. But in being proud of our monarchy, that seems to be now being translated into, we are happy to settle for mediocrity. No, we're not. No. These are different times. And whilst it was okay back then to have a waving, smiling, ribbon-cutting monarchy, it's not okay now, because behind us, our generation, we've got millennials, we've got Generation Z. They don't want that. They're not. I've got a teenage daughter who she thinks it's hilarious that the country's losing its head over Harry and Meghan. She's just like, what's the problem? Absolutely, because they're not as invested, and the monarchy has to change to support that. We have a change in population within within a very short space of time, literally within the next 10 years, 1 in 3 people in the UK are going to be either from a black or brown background. We have to be able to support that, to reflect those changes in our demographics. And as it stands now, we're trying to hold on to a very old colonial imperialistic type society that doesn't actually fit.
Exactly. And it seems that people are up in arms because of change, but this is the thing.
Yeah.
Change is a really good thing. We've got to adapt. We need to
We
have
have to.
strong lead. Like, I want us to have such strong leaders who I'm really proud to be British. I'm like, yeah, do you know what? That is our royal family. They're really strong personalities. They're doing this, that, and the other. That's what we need, isn't it? We don't, like you just said, we don't want people that will just wave and smile. That's not us.
Absolutely not. And, you know, with Meghan being biracial as well, that's highlighted this big, open, festering, pulsing sore that nobody was paying any attention to up until Brexit. And unfortunately, Meghan and Brexit both arrived at the same time in 2016. And now we've got this, oh gosh, what is it? It's like this outrage. It's unreal. And, you know, people are trying to say, oh, it's not racist, it's not sexist. But we have to confront those issues too. It is. It is. You know, when you compare headlines of Kate over the past year and a half with headlines of Meghan, we've got when Kate was pregnant with Louis, we've got Kate tenderly touches baby bump as the headlines. With Meghan last year, we've got who does she think she is? What is with this baby bump touching all the time? She's rubbing it in the face of women who can't have children. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Meghan, you know, Kate has an avocado because it's great for her morning sickness. Meghan eats avocado and it's fueling drought and terrorism. It's just unreal. Piers Morgan, who has a platform, a daily national platform.
I'm laughing because Piers Morgan, do you know what? Some stuff he says, I'm like, do you know what? Yeah, you're right. But some of the stuff he says, I had to switch the TV off the other day because he was just shouting. And I thought, what are you shouting about? Like, what issue are you it's very bizarre, again, how so many people are getting so emotional about this. But again, I think people are just missing the point. It's like shed light on these taboo subjects that are really going on. And for me, I think one thing that really raises an alarm for me, and I kind of briefly touched on it before, is a lot of people don't like strong women. A lot of people, the women will always get the blame. I mean, I've not been on this ever, and I don't think I ever will be on the same scale as Meghan and Harry, but in my own personal life, when I've been through things, it's like I always get the blame for it. And I'm like, hold on, I'm trying to do the right thing. Why am I getting the blame as the single mum? Like, it just doesn't make sense at all.
Absolutely. And, you know, Piers is not new to this game. Piers has been basically having a go at Meghan ever since he didn't get his wedding invitation. And you're absolutely right. What is it he's actually trying to say? What is the agenda he's pushing here? You know, publicizing and promoting and actively seeking out members of her family who she hasn't spoken to for years. This is not new. Things like her dad and her sister, you know, her half brother, and she hasn't spoken to them for years. And bringing them into this whole national or international debate now, that just smacks of trying to tear down a woman for what? The only crime she has committed in the eyes of Piers and his ilk is that she's fallen in love with our lovable, cuddly, cute Prince Harry. And she's changed him, but she hasn't changed him. She just made him more of who he is.
It's so true. And even, you know, going back to the wedding, I'm not being funny, but if I ever get married, I'm not going to be inviting members of my family that I haven't spoken to.
That you haven't spoken to. Absolutely not.
I want really close family and friends. That's your most special day. Why am I going to invite someone that I don't talk to? It doesn't make sense, does it?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how much you know, but there's a court case going on at the moment with the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday regarding the publishing of her letter. It's a copyright case. It's a fairly clear-cut case. All the senior lawyers and legal experts have said that, you know, it's a fairly done deal that she's won this case. And what have the Mail done in their defence? They've brought out, yet again, her father, and he's talking about the fact that he wasn't at the wedding. But the thing is, he was invited to the wedding, he was prepared for the wedding, and he decided, for whatever reason known only to him, that he was going to sell her out to a newspaper instead. How does that set the foundation for any kind of great familial relationship? It doesn't.
No, it's
and Meghan has never said anything in defense either. She's just let it go. They just keep wheeling him and the step siblings out until it got to a point whereby they had to take it to court. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, and do you know what? One of the main themes of this podcast, it was done unintentionally, but it just seems to happen in every episode now, is about just being self-aware of yourself and looking at yourself, because I believe that the people that are being the most vocal about, the dad wasn't invited, and they've probably got their own family issues going on in their own lives. So it's always look at yourself first. Look at yourself, what's going on in your own life before you look, I'm not saying to not say have an opinion, but it's just be careful of what you're saying. Like, you don't have to be, I love Meghan and Harry. Of course you're allowed an opinion, but it's just,
absolutely.
I just think it's just being sensitive, being sensible. And would you say that to someone's face as well? Whatever people are writing online, headlines, would these journalists really go up to Meghan and Harry and say the headline to them, to their face? I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But you're absolutely right, Veena. It is about just being mindful. And, this isn't, I've been accused, as you can imagine, over the past year, especially year and a half, of being obsessed with Meghan, of, Meghan can do no wrong. I want to be really clear, that's not actually the case. I'm obsessed with what's right and what's just and what's fair. I'm obsessed with women, women of colour, people being given a fair chance. That's what I'm obsessed with. I'm obsessed with making the world a better place. And if you can do that by helping an organisation, by giving to charity, as a collective, the Sussex Squad, just on our own, have raised so much money over the past year when we did the global baby Sussex shower, when we did, we've got Sussex Squad homeless give going on at the moment. We've done the Sussex Squad, the great tree forest, planting trees to replenish some of the natural resources. We've got so many things going on, and these are all in support of Harry and Meghan. We don't care whether she wears a tiara. We don't care about her clothes, how much they cost or they don't cost. We're not interested in that. What we're interested in is how much good they are doing and how much of an example they are setting that the rest of us can follow. So many of us have been inspired to do great things and mobilize other people purely because they've put themselves out there. I'm not here to undermine the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge or anybody else in the royal family, but until Harry and Meghan, there hasn't been anybody that has inspired those kind of grassroots movements that benefit the rest of community.
And look at all that stuff you've just said. Look how much good has already come out of them as a pair. So do you know what? Whatever anyone says to you, Gayle, you keep on being obsessed with helping people and helping women, because I think it sounds fantastic. I mean, this is the first time I'm even talking to you, and you just sound so articulate and so on it. So I salute you so much. And where can we find out more about you and your podcast? Is that like a weekly podcast? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have a podcast which is a Duchess Like Us podcast. It's available on YouTube channel, so just literally you can go onto that. That comes out, it's more monthly at the moment, but to be honest, we're starting to ramp it up a bit. Yeah, definitely. But also about me personally, my business is Brand New Consultancy, and I'm available as Brand New on all the social medias. Instagram in particular is my favorite. Love speaking to people and finding out more. So please feel free to contact me, Gayle Edwards at Brand New. However, having said that, though, my Twitter, my Harry and Meghan Twitter is actually Breakthrough Diva, at Breakthrough Diva, BREAKTHRUDIVA. Yeah. Only because I have realised that sometimes, I need to keep the views separate, as anyone that's in the professional life knows.
I'm sure everyone will be going, oh, okay, what's she talking about? Let's go and check Gayle out now.
Please go and check me out. Please go and check me out on either Breakthrough Diva or Brand You on Instagram, or Consultancy You on Twitter. All my socials are interconnected, so once you find me on one, you can find me on the other.
Find you in all of them. Oh, thank you so much, Gayle. You have been such a brilliant guest, and do you know what? No doubt, I've got a funny feeling that I'll be asking you to come on again.
Yes, please. I'd love to. Thank you
so much. As Gayle said, make sure you go and check her out, especially her podcast, A Duchess Like Us, as well. This was episode 9 of the Sussex Way podcast. My name's Veena V. If you want to download your free Thrive Guide, if you want to finally start thriving in life, just go to veenav.com/Sussex. That's VEENAV.com/Sussex. And remember to become a happiness hustler. Thrive forward and do things your way. This is the Sussex Way podcast.
Are you ready to thrive?
Be sure to join us next time.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes.